As always, thanks for all the support, all the Patreons and PayPal people and YouTube members and random people that just hand me money on the side of the road. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. I'm not very materialistic, but if I don't get enough to eat, it makes my attitude kind of crabby. So, thanks. Yeah, yeah. There's days where if I could just go grab a hamburger or a Coke or a milkshake or something, just half an hour, get off the bike and take a break in the shade and have something to eat. That's makes a huge difference. So for everybody that chipped in, thank you very much. If you'd like to help out, support the mission, I'll put a thing up on the screen with a website address. Just go to my name, so carlincom.com. It's got links to the most recent video and a little bit about what I'm doing, and also places you can donate to help out, and there's a link to PayPal and so on. That just literally keeps the wheels rolling. So yeah.
Alright, it's about 6 o'clock on the 14th of June 2022. Slept really good last night. I never heard anybody come in here, but there might have been. I'm far enough away from that end. This is the driveway over there. When I first came in, I parked on that end on the paved side, and I was thinking about it and walked around a couple times because I had time to kill last night. And I figured, okay, if I'm here and it's dark and somebody drives in, they would go to the restroom probably, unless they're these guys that come over here and spin donuts, but that was there before. But that was actually why I considered not parking in the gravel, because knuckleheads will come out here and spin donuts and throw rocks at me and not even realize I'm here, So anyway, that didn't happen. So yeah, from here I'm not as visible from over there, and the tree actually kind of blocks me, because when I was walking over there, I look back and it's like, yeah, the bike just up against the fence didn't really show up. Thing I hadn't considered, and I didn't realize until I was kind of set up already. Well, on that side there's dog poop everywhere, and on this side it looks like horse poop or something. Because a couple times, right down here, right? A couple times I'd kick it when I was sitting down, and I'm like, what is that smell? I'm like, it blended in at first. I didn't even notice it. So yeah, somebody probably parked their horse trailer over here and shoveled it out, or I don't know. It's a lot for just one horse, but yeah, kind of funny. A lot of traffic on this road, that's for sure. It was pretty quiet last night though. Yeah, logging truck. Yeah, like I said, it's about 6 o'clock. You can see the sun is up there already. So once I get going, I should be in good shape. I got 47 volts on the battery. That's just, really good. So by parking early, that was the thing. By parking early, I got a lot of the afternoon sun. So from what I can see on the GPS elevation map, the software I have shows the plot of the road, like the climb and the descent and stuff. I've been climbing for a few miles, but it looks like I only got to climb about 2 more miles and then I go down the other side. So that was tempting, right, to just tough it out a little bit further. But this was such a good looking place to park. I'm like, because on the other side, I would then coast all the way to I-5, right? Well, you don't want to be too close to the freeway if you can help it. This is a way better spot to be for nighttime. So I figured, yeah, we'll just pull off and camp early. So yeah, I think it worked out pretty good. So the plan is, I'm on Highway 20 now. I'm heading east from that. It's funny because the park was named Clear Lake, and the campsite was Coal Creek. Yeah, that's right, C-O-L-E Creek, probably the creek that fed into the lake. So one sign said Clear Lake, and the other side said Coal Creek, and that's what threw me off because I couldn't remember the name of the campsite I was at because it had two different names depending on which campsite, I guess, because there was multiple campsites. All right, whatever. So I'm on Highway 20 going east towards I-5. What I think I'm going to do is go past I-5 and probably take Highway 45 north, but not go all the way up to Chico or Chino. I think it is Chico. At some point, it looks like I probably will have to get on I-5 around Red Bluff or Redding. When you get to the point that you can't, there is no surface roads, then you can take the freeway. You're allowed to. And the sign will, it'll say, if there is surface roads, it'll usually say bicycles not permitted or something like that. And then at some point that they just don't put that sign up, so you figure out you can. One of the states did say bicycles must stay on shoulder. So then you're like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. You're not going to take a bicycle on the freeway and go on the lanes. So, all right. But yeah, that was the big disappointment a couple days ago when I finally got to ride on the freeway. It's like it was so cloudy and it actually was raining. I didn't have any solar, so I could only go about 5 or 6 miles an hour anyway. I'm like, oh, this sucks, because I mean, when you're on a good sunny day like today's going to be, you could be on the shoulder of the freeway and just be flying 15 miles an hour all day long because you're not, the thing is, it's like in your car, but it's amplified because you notice it more. If you're constantly stopping for stop signs or for traffic lights and then accelerating, it's that, you're wasting all your energy every time you stop, and then you accelerate and you just burn a bunch more energy to get going again. And that just, in cities, your battery just gets hammered. You get out on the freeway and, so you stop doing that start and stop all the time. Plus, on the freeway, the grades, the hills are much more gradual, because it's a bigger road, so they spent more time on it. It wears on you after all, and I think that's what I'm feeling the last few days is, I don't know, I remember last night or yesterday when I left the campsite, it's like, okay, I'm safe in the campsite. And I realized I was starting to think about that every day that I do wild camping, I mean, it's not likely I'm going to get hurt or something. It's just, I hate getting woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning when somebody says, oh, you have to leave, you can't be here, And so I think, the mental side of it is like, oh, I got to go find another campsite. I got to go, try to find a place where I can hide, and it's just, the going through that every day, that must be what homeless people, are constantly doing because nobody wants them. And you're like, you do the best you can, but it's not good enough, and you're like, oh, then you just get mad and give up and go camp at the Walmart, so that's why they have security at Walmarts now. Everybody wants to end homelessness. Well, they just want them to go away. They don't think about solving the problem, right? Anyway, it's about 6:30, so I'm going to go ahead and pack up and get ready to roll. Yeah. Sun is getting closer. By the time I get rolling, I should actually have sun hitting the panels. At this early in the morning, it's not very useful, but I do have enough power to get over the last hill. What I was looking at, I'm not going to go necessarily to Chico or Chino, whichever one it is, but from here to there, I think it's about 70 miles, and after the first 5 miles of the last little bit of a climb that I've got, it looked like it was really level. And from driving along I-5, or what I call the I-5 corridor, or the Central Valley, or whatever they call it here, between I-5 and 99 and that section, a lot of this area is pretty flat. But what I got to remember is I'm getting towards Shasta, so we're going to start climbing. I think what I'm thinking of is further south where it's really flat. more by Bakersfield. It's all agriculture, but I think this is still dairyland and stuff up here. So there's a lot of it that is pretty flat. So I'm thinking if I have a good day and this, you know, the last thing is what the wind is going to do. Because I've been doing 40-mile days in the hills. If I had more level, I should be able to do 60 or 70-mile days. I guess. I mean, it should work. So I've only had a couple 70-mile days on the whole trip, so it's got to be really good conditions. But I could just about double what I've done the last couple days. And yeah, yesterday I left late and I stopped early. So I should be able to push it a little further. Yeah. Anyway, hit the road and see what we can do. All right, 7:15. I figured for sure I'd be ready to roll by now. Anyway, I was just starting to load the bike. In fact, I had almost all of this stuff. It's like, okay, so those bags and the tools are all in the front handlebar bag now, because the main bag of tools is underneath everything. That's a change I'd like to make someday, but the tools are heavy, so I try to get them down as low as I can. All right, so the balance is better and so on. Anyway, so my front brakes, or actually all of my brakes, both of my brakes, on these little disc brakes, you got little tiny brake pads right down here, right? And I was thinking about it. I'm like, I've never adjusted the pads. I keep adjusting the cables. You know, so you got the adjuster up here. That's the one you can just stop and do it right on the spot, instead of having, you don't have to get off the bike even. You can just loosen it up and pull it out to make it tighter. So I've been doing that, and then some of the times I'd come down here and make an adjustment on this, so you'd kind of slide the cable down and get it again. And I'm like, well, there is an adjustment on the pad itself. You get a little click adjust, so you can say turn one way to set the pad in closer and the other way to pull it back out a little bit. And I hadn't done that, but you just reach in with an Allen wrench, and I don't know if they did this on purpose. I guess maybe it's the only way they could do it. But you make the adjustment through the wheel, right? So the Allen wrench comes in this way. So you kind of stand on the opposite side to do it, I guess. So I did that. Well, on the front one, because of where the motor is, actually I can show you this one easier. Right here, that silver part is where you make the adjustment. Well, it's literally almost there, you know. And this is one of the smallest motors you could get, so I'm like, either I take the wheel off or I just take the caliper off. So I just took the caliper off. In this case, it was easier, I think. I don't know. Either way, you know, kind of thing. The new motor would be so much bigger, it wouldn't even be close, so you'd have to do it one way or the other. But on the new motor, I have quick release on the wheel, though. So it's kind of weird, because what you'd have to do is look at it and say, okay, how far do I want to go? And then take it apart, make the adjustment, put it back on, and test it to see if you're close, right? So you can't just do a click and then try it, you know, because you have to take it apart. So that's kind of a weird setup, but I think it does make sense to the way they did it, though, because you wouldn't do this very often. I mean, on a regular bike, that would last a long time. On this heavy thing, they are taking a beating, so just one of those things. I'm like, you know what? I should do it now when I'm in camp, and I got everything where I can reach it real easy. So, all right, about 8 o'clock in the morning. We're on the downhill. I'm sure glad I adjusted the brakes when I did. This hill, they didn't list the percent grade, but there was the trucks use lower gears. I don't think it's as steep as some of the other ones were. And parts of it, I actually had a headwind going down the hill, so that was helping slowing me down, but now it feels like a tailwind again, so it's very confused. Yeah. Anyway, we're about at the bottom of this hill. I think there's a little short up and then another long down, and then I got like 30 miles of downhill all the way past Interstate 5. So I'm thinking
I should be able to not use the batteries very much and just cruise and coast and make up some time. So I should be able to do 10-15 miles an hour pretty easy without using any power. About 9:30, sorry about the wind. This is why I went inland, aside from the wind. It's like we came out of the hills and it's just all of a sudden dead flat. It's gonna be a slow, gradual descent in general that way for the next 30 miles. Little bits of up and down, but it's all agricultural. And this is where one of the canals is. Danger, stay alive by staying out. That seems reasonable. Most of that is for irrigation. Alright, so I'm riding along. Kind of need a break. I've been pushing a good headwind. The wind is supposed to be dropping off towards the afternoon, so it's like about 1 or 2 miles an hour slower for every hour afternoon, something like that. So I'm like, well, it doesn't make a lot of sense to hurry if you can slow down and then the wind slows down. But unfortunately, the middle of the day is when you get the most sun, so anyway, I was pushing through it as hard as I could, and then I'm getting tired, so I'm like, yeah, I think I'll stop and take a break for a while. So I see this turnoff, and there's this little parallel trail next to the highway. This is Highway 45. So I'm like, okay, we'll check it out. We're next to the Sacramento River. So then this one says no vehicles past this point. And primitive boat launch. Okay. So here's the boat launch. The other sign back there says no trailers, hand launch only. So like a canoe or a little dinghy or something you can pick up, right? So no vehicles beyond this point, special regulations in effect, and Fish and Wildlife Service. Okay, so you go down the ramp. Let's get the whole effect here. So you go down the ramp, and you go into the swamp. Oh, like this is about as bad as that Clear Lake, Coal Creek one. Okay, so there's a puddle over there, and there's kind of a puddle over here. This is apparently an island, so I think when there was water, the water does go around the island all the way around. I mean, it has to go all the way around, or it's not an island, it'd be a peninsula. Yeah, and you can see, you know, at one time there had been water all the way up to here. So I don't know how often that happens, but we are in that California drought that happens every year. So yeah, I just laughed when I saw that. I'm like, okay, it'd be kind of cool to, you know, put my hands and face in the water and cool off a little bit. And nope. I was kind of confused because on the GPS map, at this point, it does show the water almost a mile away in that direction. But there's the sign for the boat ramp. So I'm like, okay, maybe, you know, the GPS isn't always right. But yeah. So I think I'll sit here. I got a little bit of shade, the bike's in the sun. Take maybe half an hour break and just rest for a while. I'm on track for still doing a 70-mile day today. So even if I slow down a little bit, I should make it. So we'll see how that turns out. Alright, break starts now. Okay, also the Sacramento River. Looks a little more promising. I decided after the last one I'm not going to ride the bike down because it takes too much power to get back out again. Might walk down and take a look. Yeah, maybe we'll take a look. That's nice. It's got to be in the 90s today, I think. It's kind of hot. Yep, that looks more like water. There's a white like a crane or a heron or something over there. Can't quite see it. Not sure what this is all about. There's a kind of a, I think there's a pumping station on the other side. think this would make more sense if the water was 10 feet higher. Probably. And butterflies about the size of a bird. Well, after pushing up to 18-mile-an-hour headwinds for most of the afternoon, I made it 61 miles today, which is pretty good. It does kind of prove my theory. If I got out of the hills on the coast and got inland, I'd do a lot better. And that seems to be true, so yay for that. I am tired. I really am down. So this is a boat launch. I suspect that they probably close at sunset. It's not a very big community, but it does look like a lot of parking spots. So I guess the question will be is if they actually lock the gate or not. So I guess I'll wait and see. It's about, I forgot what time it is, 4:30 I think. So that should give me at least 3 or 4 hours before they close the gate. I'm going to kind of keep an eye. I'm looking at over by the highway, there's a gap in the fence. So the one thought is if they lock the gate and don't see me, I'd be locked in. Not a big deal. If they open the gate at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'd be fine. All right. If I get locked in and can't get out, I could just go to that gap in the fence and get out anyway. So that's not a big deal. Restrooms are here. That's nice. I'm in a sheltered picnic area, a little roof on top for some shade. That part's good. I don't think there's drinkable water here. There was a sign at the restroom, non-potable water, so I don't think I can reload drinking water. But when I stopped at the Arby's about 11 o'clock today, I bought another gallon of water. So I drank most of that already though. I've still got water in the Camelback, and I've got water, I think I've got 2 liters still, so I'm okay for that. Yeah. I'm kind of kicking myself now. As I was coming in, a sheriff's deputy was going out. I should have stopped them and asked if they locked the gate here. There was an accident just up the road. Pickup T-boned an SUV, it looked like. A few miles back, I was riding along. I didn't even hear the cop. The first one, he didn't have a siren going, just the lights. So I saw the traffic coming towards me, all pulling off. I thought that was kind of weird. I was already on the shoulder, so it wasn't like I was blocking him, but I would have stopped anyway. And the first one goes flying by, and a few seconds later, the second one came by, and he had a siren on, so then I heard him coming. My mirror isn't that good, but it's better than the other 2 were. So if I look, I can see somebody before they get there. The problem is I'm not looking at the mirror enough because I'm looking ahead where I'm going so I don't run over a rock or something. Yeah, anyway. Rock or a snake or a dead turtle. All of which I've seen today. Yeah, there was 2 dead turtles on the side of the road. Several deer, roadkills. And one of the times I got off the bike, this kind of messes with my head. There was a dead snake fairly close to the bike that I didn't see when I got off. I saw it when I came back. So then I'm like, oh crap, if that would have been a live snake, I would have just about stepped on it, I was like, how did I not see it? But, yeah, kind of weird. Slipping, I guess. I have not seen, knock on wood, I shouldn't even say this, I haven't seen any rattlesnakes this year. So, yeah. And it's like there's just as good of chance of there being snakes in California as there was in Texas, right? All the way through New Mexico and Arizona and Utah, it was really too cold for the snakes. Death Valley, the ranger said the snakes were already awake and active. And then California, there could have been snakes, but I never saw any. I think I'm more likely to see snakes at home because they're, nesting or have a den or whatever under the school bus is what it seems like. That's usually where I see them kind of concentrated around the bus. So I'm more likely to step on a snake at home than I am on the road, just because they're all focused in one spot. That just happens to be where I'm at. Yeah, that's kind of messed up. I think that's it for now. It was in the 90s today and winds up to 20 miles an hour, headwind. That takes it out of you, even with the electrics. And I was trying to find a sweet spot between, if I slow down a little bit, you have less wind resistance, but then you don't go as fast or as far. If you go a little bit faster, sometimes you get into a better efficiency. I noticed that a few times. I'd get a certain speed and the amps would drop down, so it was actually saving power as I was going. Sometimes faster is better than slower. I'm trying to find a happy medium between my natural cadence when I'm pedaling and what gear to choose, and then what power level to choose on the motor controller. That seems to be the thing I'm looking for. Because if I can get a comfortable pedal cadence, I can do that for hours. If I'm too fast or too slow, it doesn't work out as well. But days like today, it was so level most of the ride. It was just kind of cruising along. So if it wasn't for the headwind, it would have been in good shape. Tomorrow is supposed to be about half of the wind of what we had today, it looks like, so that should be good. Yeah, so 60 miles today, as compared to the last couple days of 40s, and a couple days I didn't even look at the miles. Like going through San Francisco, it took me 2 days to go 60 miles, so it was like 30-mile days or something like that. Cities and bicycle trails and pedestrians all slow you down, and stop and go traffic is really hard on your battery. So once you get out in the open, you can usually make up some miles. So yeah, today was really the first day I've done a long day. I was rolling by 7:30, I think. So I had a couple of stops. Stopped for lunch a little bit early at that Arby's. Glad I did. I'm going to try it once a day to get something to eat besides Cliff Bars, kind of thing. That seems like a good idea. So just to kind of chill out, and a large Jamocha shake. That seemed like a good idea. Lots of calories in that. Yeah, that was good. Couple little towns I really wanted to stop for a Coke, and the one place I started turning around, and I thought it looked more like a restaurant than a convenience store kind of thing. I saw the big Coke sign, and then next to it was the burritos, so I was like, yeah, I wanted to just get a bottle to go. I didn't want to sit there and sit down if I could help it. So yeah, sometimes a Coke is just a good rush of sugar to get you going again. So quick and easy, not good for long-term survival, but gets you going. Yeah. So I figured out a couple days ago it's something like 800 miles to Wenatchee, which is my next destination. Go see my dad. So 16 days would be 50-mile days average. I think I figured 40 miles a day before. It was a little less than 3 weeks, something like that. Yeah. Could be up there about time for 4th of July, I guess. Or the first of July for Canadians. Yeah, that might be fun. My arms hurt today. I was on some of the road on the shoulders. About every 10 feet was a tar strip. Dunk, 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 dunk. And it's like you just, about the time I got to the point I could ride fast enough, then I hit those things, and you just want to slow down. It just beats up your wrists. At least this bike has front suspension. That does seem to help. But then you hear the trailer bouncing, so eventually I'm going to break the trailer. So try to be kind of back off on that. So what I was doing is slow down, and then when I got to smooth road, speed up to kind of even it out. And it seemed like it was working out okay, but. Oh, yeah, tired. All right, I guess that's it for now. As always, thanks for all the support all the Patreons and PayPal people and YouTube members and random people that just hand me money on the side of the road. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. I'm not very materialistic, but if I don't get enough to eat, it makes my attitude kind of crabby. So, thanks. Yeah, yeah. There's days where if I could just go grab a hamburger or a Coke or a milkshake or something, just half an hour, get off the bike and take a break in the shade and have something to eat. That's makes a huge difference. So, for everybody that chipped in, thank you very much. If you'd like to help out, support the mission, I'll put a thing up on the screen with a website address. Just go to my name, so carlincom.com. It's got links to the most recent video and a little bit about what I'm doing, and also places you can donate to help out, and there's a link to PayPal and so on. That just literally keeps the wheels rolling. So yeah, anyway, I guess that's it for now. Time to just relax. Later.